The Arkansas Game and Fish helped me with a project on part of the land. Daniel came out and he and I rode the property on an ATV, and he made some recommendations as to what we possibly could do and different programs that might be available to assist in the different habitat work that we were interested in.
Everything was just kind of new as far as the programs that we were going to use, and I was trying to, we want to do some timber stand improvement. So basically I come up here and tell Tom that we need to kill some trees, and he was kind of hesitant on that. And then once we got started with that project and he could kind of see how things were going to go, I think that first obstacle was overcome.
I went from there and got in contact with the NRCS and was lucky enough to get funded for various projects there, including a prescribed burn, fire lanes, timber stand improvement, and planting some pollinators.
He was starting to see things that had been previously, covered up, hadn't been exposed in several years. So he was starting to see new plants and flowers and different things.
It's kind of funny to talk about. We've recently seen some different milkweed pop up, and Morgan with Quails Forever found some monarch eggs on the underside of those leaves, which were really cool. We had some quail here already, and I have since seen a couple different coveys of quail, and of course the turkey and the deer are flourishing.
When we first came out here and I visited with Thomas, he'd already been doing a lot of work on his forest stands. He had done some pollinator plantings, and it was all looking really good, and we kind of talked about what other some options were there for him, and what else we could do to kind of further some of that stuff. And we talked a little bit more about some intricate management within the forest stands, like maybe doing a little bit heavier thinning on some of the more true woodland areas, identified some small glades on the property, which are really important for restoration here in the state, especially in the Ozarks.
Some of the future plans that Thomas and I have talked about are just moving forward with his future cattle operation. We're going to bring stockers in, so those are steers or heifer cattle. We'll bring them in the spring next year, and we'll begin grazing those native warm season grasses so we can track weight gains on those cows over the summer. And we'll use that data to show how cattle perform on native warm season grasses versus some of the really common introduced grasses that we see in Arkansas, like Bermuda grass and tall fescue. One thing that we're really trying to show is that we can improve wildlife habitat in our cattle pastures by grazing native warm season grasses. And those grasses contain just as much, if not more, nutrients than our introduced grasses. And the structure of those grasses provide better wildlife habitat, and cattle perform really well on them.
My joke is all it takes is time and money. And I guess that's the biggest obstacle for any landowner. And the thing that the Game and Fish, NRCS, Quails Forever, Audubon, Delta, they all helped expedite and reduce the time and money factor into changing our habitat here and restoring our habitat.
I just want you to imagine, if you look into this field, like in the future, like covered in native flowers and grasses that are not only beneficial to quail, but all of our pollinators as well. So we're excited.
Hear him gobbling? That's distracting. There he gobbled again. I'm gonna go kill that turkey.